I'd like to call this meeting to order. Tonight, the presentation of colors is by T.C. Robertson High School, and the instructor is Colonel Tom Bell. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I ask that you remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. They're waiting on me. Sorry. Now we can sit down. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
And a second? Second. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? It's time for Superintendents' Comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On October 24th, we held our annual district-wide advisory council meeting, and that was held at Inca High School. And I want to thank Ms. Robinson and her staff for being such gracious hosts. We had over 220 attendees made up of district advisory council members from the various individual schools. The theme was Digital Learning Connections in Buncombe County Schools. Barry Pace and Robert Frisbee are to be congratulated for facilitating a very successful program. I think we had over 14 breakout sessions that were available to the participants, and it ranged from problem solving in the new elementary school STEAM labs that we have available now for our children to new Zella 101. Grades 2 through 12, and to makerspaces coding, and that is the hot curriculum topic right now, is coding in all of our schools at the elementary level, and that was coding with Scratch and Makey. And being an old high school person, I've got to learn about Makey, I think. Lots of exciting activities related to digital learning that are taking place throughout our school system. So congratulations to the staff for putting on a great session. I want to recognize Jennifer Reed, and Jennifer is in the audience tonight. She is our elementary school curriculum director, and want to thank her for another successful countdown to kindergarten. We had quite a few parents there. Every one of our elementary schools had event opportunities there for the parents, and so I think that's our third annual. Jennifer, is that right? Okay, so again, thanks for everybody, and thanks to Asheville Outlet Mall, by the way, for allowing us to use their facility. I want to commend our staff and the 137 student performers who participated in the All-County High School Honors Chorus that was held at First Baptist Church. And kudos to Robert Waller. I don't see Robert here tonight. He is our cultural arts and AIG specialist, and he's a wonderful leader in all of our programs and activities across the county. And Meredith Waller, Robert's daughter, was one of the outstanding soloists, and I know Mrs. Churchill has to be proud of her daughter Maddie's performance as well. So a wonderful program that took place. Congratulations. I'm going to take the prerogative of doing this early. We have something later on the agenda, but I want to congratulate Mr. Leland Blankenship, certainly a great friend and a wonderful administrator. He was voted by his peers as the 2017-18 BCS Principal of the Year. He's serving in his 5th year as principal of Buncombe Middle School, and he will move on to competition at the regional level, and we anticipate he'll breeze through that and go on to state level and breeze through that because we're so proud of Leland and his leadership. I want to also thank First Citizens Bank, Pat Carver. They've been a sponsor for years and years for the Principal of the Year program, and also Lisa Adkins with our Buncombe County Schools Foundation. I want to commend the efforts of several district-wide leaders for their presentations to our board this afternoon. I think we do have audio of that work session this afternoon. Associate Superintendent Suzanne Swanger presented information regarding the process that's being used by several of our schools in reporting progress throughout the year. The staffing impact of the upcoming K-3 class size legislation that's set to go into effect in 2018-19. We're going to be talking quite a bit about that over the next several board sessions. Thanks to Mr. Huff and Cynthia Lopez for taking that particular category. And finally, Ms. Lopez concluded that work session addressing the mandated change in teacher contracts that's set to go in effect through new legislation for 2018-19. And I want to conclude with giving a plug to an activity that's being sponsored through Buncombe County Schools Foundation and the Asheville Chamber of Commerce. It's going to be held November 28th. It's a morning session from 8:30 to 11 o'clock at the Crown Plaza, and it is called Woman Up, the second annual celebration, and they will be honoring outstanding women in business, education, and philanthropy, and wow, we've got a lot of those in the school system, let me say. And if you have interest in attending that, registering for the event, if you will contact our Buncombe County Schools Foundation, more information there. The guest speaker will be Dr. Christine Darden, who is a retired NASA engineer and analyst. She was one of the NASA's human computers. If those of you that had an opportunity to see Hidden Figures, and if you've not seen that movie, talking about STEM, it is a wonderful, wonderful movie. So she was one of those particular characters that was portrayed so very well in the film. And that concludes my comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Our employee recognition is next on the agenda. That's Ms. Harris.
Good evening, Dr. Baldwin and Madam Chair, board members. We have a couple of handfuls of 20-year employees to recognize this evening. Really excited to have you guys here. So if I call your name, I want you to come down here, grab your certificate from Ben, and come stand next to me. So first up, Paula Autry. She is a third grade teacher at Estes Elementary School. Come on down, and feel free to give her a round of applause. Tina Buckley is next. She teaches. She's right here in our central office. She's in our HR department. And Cynthia Lopez, our HR director, wanted me to tell everyone that Tina does an amazing job with the monthly personnel report that the board gets. And Cynthia says, and I quote, "If she does it, I know it's going to be done right." So she just wanted everyone to know that. Next up, Barbara Buditisiwan. Did I get that? I practiced it all day. Buditisiwan. Are you here, Barbara? Oh, I practiced so hard. Okay. We'll hang on to her certificate. We'll give it to her later. Sherry Freeman at Oakley Elementary School. She's an instructional assistant. And Miss Lisa Hughes, are you here? She's at North Windy Ridge Intermediate. Katie Laws is next. She is at Haw Creek, and she is a PE teacher. Marianne Manis is up next. She is at Inca High School, and she is an EC teacher. All right. Nancy Prayatley, are you here today? Nancy, oh, she had another tough name. Nancy Prayatley, just for the record, I got it right. Next up, Betty Ray. She's at Johnston Elementary School. She's a head custodian. 20 of her years in Buncombe County Schools, so thank you for your service. If Amy Vaughn could come up next, she's Leicester Elementary School, first grade teacher. Latanya Walters, are you here tonight? Yep, she's at North Buncombe Elementary School. And our final 20-year employee to recognize this evening is Judith Wooten. She is at Leicester Elementary School. So when we have our 20 and 30, 40, and sometimes 50-year employees up here, we like to ask them a special question just to get some insight into sort of what makes them tick and sort of what they love about Buncombe County Schools. So you all are going to answer the same question and just repeat your name and send the mic down the line, okay? So the question I want to ask you guys is, in your 20 years with North Carolina and the jobs that you've done, what is the most important lesson you've learned about yourself? Europe.
No pressure. To be flexible. I need to be flexible and go with the flow.
Let's see here. Well, I've learned that 20 years ago, I walked in here and I had my interview and I was in administration and finance and I was excited and I was really just, I couldn't wait to start. And 20 years later, I'm slower. I know Cynthia knows that I'm slower, and I try to work as fast as I can, but you know what? I'm still excited as I was 20 years ago. And that's what I've learned about myself.
I've learned to have a lot of patience and not jump to conclusions.
Hello, I have learned just to be flexible and to enjoy the moment and to take just joy in what the children are doing at the time.
I think I've learned to be patient as well and compassionate.
I agree. Caring for others, especially the children and the staff, is very important.
I have enjoyed my position. I have learned that I love all the children, no matter what they are, they're children. And I love every one of them, and I look forward to coming to work every day.
I would say I've learned that when things get stressful or overwhelming, just to go back to the kids and sit down and talk to them and just remember that that's why I'm there.
Well, in 20 years, I have learned that you can never say never, I've never done or never seen, because they will make a liar out of you.
I would say that I've learned that each child has their own special qualities about them, and each one has something to love about them.
Thank you very much for sharing your insight with us. I want everyone to stay up here for a group photo. So smush together, and if Dr. Baldwin and Ms. Franklin could come up here for a group photo as well. Give them another round of applause. I want to see teeth. I want to see happy people. No blinking. Smiling faces. Everyone keep on looking at Tim. We got to get it right. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. Exactly. You use your patience that you've learned in your 20 years. All right, we got it. Thank you, guys. Let's give them another round of applause. And that concludes employee recognitions tonight.
Our curriculum feature is next, and that would be our good news is next.
I get to do good news and curriculum this evening.
All right, Ms. Swanger, you go
Good
forth
evening.
and do good work.
I would like to invite Ms. Doris Sellers, our former Buncombe County Schools Principal of the Year, to come down and join me. And together, we're going to recognize a very special person in Buncombe County Schools. Mr. Leland Blankenship was recently awarded Principal of the Year by his peers, and as Dr. Baldwin mentioned, he's getting ready to embark on his competition and representing the wonderful role of principal that he does each and every day. So, Mr. Blankenship, please come on down. This is fun for me because Leland and I worked together for many years, both in school districts, but then I had the pleasure of serving with him in central office when he was CTE director and director of secondary education before his heart called him back to Inca Middle School. And it's one of those conversations that we as supervisors, when our employees come to us and say, I really want to, and we say, we'll make it happen if that's what you want to do and you're good at it. So we sacrificed and allowed him to go back, and he has enjoyed his tenure at Inca Middle, but he comes to us from a teacher perspective. He's been a principal, an assistant principal in another county, came here as CTE director, and then, of course, moved into curriculum. The words that I hear often about Leland, he's dedicated, he's loyal, he models for each and every staff member, for students. He brings a sense of academic purpose as well as community purpose into his building. When you ask students about him, he knows my name. He knows who I am. He recognizes me. He speaks to me. And those are all such important traits. He's just a wonderful human. So, in 34 years' time, thank you for all you've done for education, and we're so proud to recognize you as the Buncombe County Schools Principal of the Year.
I promise it won't be long. First of all, the peer recognition I really appreciate. I'm privileged really to be given the opportunity to lead the school, to lead a school. The principalship's a tough job, but I love my job. And the peer recognition with the excellent administrators we've got in our schools in Buncombe County, to have the peer recognition was just, quite frankly, it was a bit overwhelming and very humbling because we have great principals in Buncombe County schools. Another thing I'd like to mention is this is a team award. Inca Middle's a great school. We've got great teachers, we've got great students, we've got a great community at Inca. This morning, I skipped the principals meeting, sorry. But we had our Veterans Day program, and it's something we've done the last 4 years, and to me it's one of the most important things we do at Inca Middle School, teaching respect and honoring our veterans. And our students did great today. They did a great job performing, but even better, when you get 600 middle schoolers in one spot and you get comments afterwards about how great our students were in showing respect and honor to those veterans, that's a great day at Inca Middle School. And our kids did great. And speaking of team award, I've been in this business for 34 plus years. I've been married to that lady up there for, you want me to say it? 30 plus years. She is. Dr. Page used to really give me a hard time about marrying one of my students. She was not one of my students, but anyway. Anyone that's been in a household, the spouse of a school administrator, they pay a price too, because an 11-hour day is a normal day without the extracurricular duties. And I know I've got high school principals in the room, so I won't really get into the whole hours thing. But I'm gone a lot. And when I am home, I'm on the laptop a lot. So, Lynn, thank you. Appreciate you.
Certainly.
Next, I would like to invite Lieutenant Ruby to come forward for another special presentation.
Wes, just come up and join me up here. I'll introduce you to everybody. This is Officer Wesley Anders. He's the school resource officer at Valley Springs Middle School. This is his 6th year, I believe, at the middle school out there serving. And Wes was recently recognized as the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office Officer of the Year, but even at that, he is the 2017 State School Resource Officer of the Year, is recognized by the North Carolina Association of School Resource Officers. And I'll tell you what led to that a little bit. Wes is the SRO's main job is to build positive relationships with kids. It's not there to get kids in trouble or arrest kids. It's to build positive relationships, and he's the epitome of that. I'd like to send every school resource officer we get to Wes so he could teach them exactly how you do that. One incident at Valley Springs, we had a young man, Brian Granados, a student there that Wes got to come through our summer program that we had, our leadership program that we had. And later on, this young man was diagnosed with leukemia. And he comes from had a tough life. His father, several years ago, was murdered in Mexico and was living a tough life. The people at Valley Springs wanted to help with some funds to raise for his medical bills, but couldn't because school policy raised money for one individual. So Wes partnered with the school and took the lead in raising over $5,000 to help pay medical bills for that young man. To do that, he did that through community partnerships, people in the community that helped that, through his leadership. Did that. That's not the only thing that he does. You might have seen him on WLOS on Tammy Watford's feature this week, where he was at Avery's Creek Elementary School teaching about the kids about bullying and the safe internet use and things of that nature. So he is a real leader in our community at Valley Springs School, throughout the school district. And Wes, I'm proud to give you this recognition as the State School Resource Officer of the Year. Thank you.
Well, I guess I would say, number one, I'm honored and I'm humbled to be a part of not only the sheriff's office and the sheriff's office, what it stands for, to be a part of a school resource officer division that allows us to get in there with the schools and the school system that allows us to partner with them and work in conjunction with them on any kind of issue, whether it's going out and playing kickball with kids, or whether it's going and talking about internet safety, or it's talking about bullying, or it's talking about drugs or alcohol abuse, or whatever those things are. I'm very privileged. I don't think things happen by chance. We're put in situations where we can reach out to those kids and be a positive influence to them, and be there for them when they feel like that they have no one else. I'm also thankful for Lieutenant Ruby and his leadership, and him giving us the green light to say, go West, go, and all the officers, not just myself, to say, listen, if there's something these kids need, hey, let us know. If there's something that we can do, let us know. We'll talk to the sheriff. We'll talk to whatever, and that's just the leadership that they bring. My first line supervisors, Sergeant Welch and Sergeant Sparks, they tell us, listen, if there's something that you need, tell us. If there's something that we can do, tell us. And when we're in the schools right now, I have 5 schools that I help take care of, the 3 elementary schools, the intermediate and middle school in T.C. Robertson District. And, I thank the principals for allowing me just to go in there and sit down, and even if it's just to do a color with crayons and talk about what the kids are doing and what they're learning, or my favorite math class, if we're talking about that, or whatever it is. That is what we do. It's to build those relationships, to have a great rapport, and to bring restorative justice to these kids, because that's what it's all about. I can't thank you enough. I'm very honored and privileged once again. Thank you for letting me do what I do and just be me, because that's what I do. I love these kids, and just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Lieutenant Ruby, you too.
Oscars.
Go ahead.
Board, one of your priorities is looking at academics and how we bring extensions into our classrooms, and we provide other opportunities for students. Tonight, I wanted to bring you up to date on what's happening in blended learning opportunities for our students. So before I bring our specialist in, I did want to recognize Dr. Fairley Pollock, who's here from AB Tech, who partners with us, and she came just to support the digital learning initiative that you're going to hear about tonight. So thank you, Fairley, for being here. And she has lots to do because she's getting married in 2 weeks. I'd like to introduce you to Brandon Rice. Brandon is our digital learning specialist, and so he works very closely with Dr. Lambert and our curriculum staff, with AB Tech, with Mr. Pace's team, to make sure that we are on the cutting edge of bringing digital learning opportunities to our students by way of different kinds of courses. High school courses, college courses, credit recovery. So I think you'll be interested to see the numbers this evening. Brandon, welcome.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Dr. Baldwin, members of the board, thank you for having me here. I appreciate it. It's the first time I've got to really present the whole encompassing scheme of distance learning in my time in this position. It's a great privilege to be here and do this. So as soon as I get my slideshow up here. So I also want to thank Suzanne Swanger for inviting me to present, to give me this opportunity. As I move between the realms of digital technology and curriculum, I get to encounter all the wonderful pieces and all the people who are working to give nothing but the best to all of Buncombe County students. And it's because of the vision and the work and the infrastructure and all of the support that technology gives that we are able to make the opportunities I'm about to talk about available. So it wouldn't be possible without that. On the other half, if it wasn't for the fact that we had the curriculum team who's so focused on personalized learning and on constant improvement and on innovation, then we wouldn't be presenting these options to our students. So it's just a supportive environment and a constant mindset of giving the best to our students. Now, as my daughter's learning at Weaverville Elementary in the Leader in Me program, we should begin with the end in mind. And so I want to do that. I want to begin with the end that we have in mind. And though I have numbers and graphs later on, I know that the real reason that we're here and the real end that we have in mind is students. So we have a lot of successful students who have shown kind of the essence of our purpose, which is to prepare students for their tomorrow. And these are students who have graduated, who have been prepared for their tomorrow and testify to that, and students who are currently preparing themselves for their tomorrow and using all of the opportunities that we present to do that. So I asked my distance learning advisors from the various schools to see if they could gather some of that for me. And so in front of you should have a sheet with some testimonials from some of the INCA students. Debbie Morgan from INCA, the distance learning advisor there, gathered those for me, and you can read those at your leisure. Put them there because I wouldn't have time. I knew I wouldn't have time to read them all, but they speak to some really wonderful things. The students there talk about the money that college credits that we've provided saved them, how their time in the advanced credit classes prepared them for the structure of college classes, how it taught them responsibility, and how it created fond memories in the distance learning lab. Additionally, not on the sheet, Irwin's distance learning advisor, Eddie Taylor, shared an account of Brooklyn Hoffman, an Irwin graduate who earned 21 credit hours while she was in high school. And according to Brooklyn, the 21 credit hours she earned from AB Tech helped her focus on her degree when she got to college because she had already accomplished a lot of her general education requirements. Taking these classes, Brooklyn said, helped me to understand how hard I was going to work in college. Also helped me to realize how to manage my time and not procrastinate. Doesn't matter if you're going to a big university or a small community college, these courses help you on your career. And she goes on to talk about the head start that she had and the experience that she had that gave her a leg up when she got to college. And you see that additionally in those INCA students, that when they got there, they were able to be successful because of the groundwork that we gave them while they were with us. Now, I was even happier because these are before my time, and we've opened up new opportunities, and we've put in new tools so that the chances to take these credits are even greater than what these graduates have. So we have students with us now who are starting to explore more and greater possibilities. And I was really excited when I sent out that request to the advisors, when the distance learning advisor from North Buncombe, Barbara Watley, introduced me to Madison Yearout, who is here with us to speak about her experiences, and when the Reynolds advisor, Gabrielle Beckman, introduced me to Lauren Patterson, who is a senior there and who has really maximized the opportunities they've given her. So they're going to come and talk to us just a bit about their academic plans and experiences and the ways that distance learning has helped them along that path, why they're doing what they're doing, and what their goals are. So, Madison, if you'll come down. Oh, there you are. Thank you.
So I'm Madison Yearout, and I'm a junior at North Buncombe High School, and I'm involved with the Career and College Promise program with AB Tech. I'm currently ranked first in my class with over a 4.5 GPA. This is my second semester with AB Tech, enrolled in 4 courses totaling 14 credit hours, along with 2 AP classes at my high school. What I plan to achieve through this dual enrollment program is to get all the requirements needed for an associate degree in science prior to my high school graduation next year. One of the many benefits this program has on my education is working alongside my AP classes and helping me to be a more well-rounded student. These AB Tech courses also better prepare me for college and get me one step closer to achieving my goal of becoming a doctor and entering into a pre-med program following my high school graduation. I learned about the dual enrollment program through my older sister, who graduated from North Buncombe last year with 52 college credits from AB Tech and is now at ETSU. College and Career Promise has ultimately helped me and my family with the financial burden that college comes with, offering me and my sister almost 2 years of free college tuition. Through the encouragement and support from both my sister and my distance learning advisor, Ms. Watley, I was able to see the numerous benefits this program has to offer. I hope Career and College Promise provides its progressive efforts so that students in the future may also have this opportunity. I would personally like to thank each of you for this amazing program that has helped ensure my success as a student and has better prepared me for my future. Thank you.
And Lauren?
Hi, my name is Lauren Patterson, and I'm a senior at A.C. Reynolds High School, and I'm currently dual enrolled with AB Tech Community College. This has been such a wonderful opportunity, and I am so grateful that I got to experience this. Not only has it allowed me to have 2 years of college credit under my belt while being in high school, but it has allowed me to develop better time management skills. It has eased the burden of financial expenses, and it has also allowed me to develop a basic understanding of a college setting. I wish I would have known about this beforehand during my sophomore year, as I would have planned my junior and senior year according to the AB Tech classes. I am very grateful that Ms. Beckman and my parents have been there for me 100% of the way in pushing me to do this. By the time I graduate, I will have 54 credit hours, and by the end of the summer, I will have 63 college credit hours, which equates to an associate's degree. And I hope that the high school students that wish to be in this program have the opportunity to do so, because this has been really great, and I'm extremely thankful that my school offers such a great program. Thank you.
It's been fantastic meeting them and talking with them, because often I'm here in the office, I'm seeing the enrollment numbers, I'm seeing the back end stuff, but when I get to see what our program actually does, that's what, as you know, that's why we're here, and that's what makes it all worth it. So that's kind of our end result. That's the tip of the spear and the pathfinders who are finding our way forward and who are uncovering what we need to do. I want to step back for a moment, kind of give you the greater context, since it's been a while since anyone's presented on the whole of distance learning, and show you kind of where that fits into our entire distance learning program. So we have 3 essential pillars of distance learning that we work with right now. There are a lot of little programs around it, but the 3 things that form the basis of it are credit recovery, high school courses online, and college courses online. And these things have been in place in various forms in Buncombe County since the early 2000s, when credit recovery was on a then young learning management system, Moodle, and AB Tech classes were an ITV with a telecommunications cart that had to be wheeled from class to class. And those programs have evolved a lot since then. We've found better ways to deliver these options to students, to enable more students to take advantage of them, and to fit them into their particular academic needs so that it personalizes learning for our students. And that's, to me, the ultimate end of this. This is not just online learning, it's personalized learning. It's flexible and responsive to student needs and school needs. While I'm on the background, I'm going to leave out some history that I had here because I wanted to give time for the students to speak, and I think there's more powerful than anything I can say. But I do want to thank the distance learning advisors. I know we've got a couple at least here today. And they have, over that time, as this program's evolved, become an essential backbone to it. The Distance Learning Lab became the hub of distance learning. That's where we had the computers when it required a lab. Now we're one-to-one, and we have even more flexibility. But they do so much more than just host a lab. They help register students. They provide technical support and a guiding hand as the students work through the courses in their lab. They monitor progress. They record grades. They communicate with administrators, counselors, and online teachers. And they stay informed of the ever-changing nature of the programs and all the things that we're offering, and even the things that I'm causing them to have to adapt to because I'm putting things in place. And they're patient with that and responsive and always willing to do what's best for the kids. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. And we have great advisors at all of the schools. So the first of the elements that I talked about was credit recovery. And credit recovery helps us meet our initiative to increase the graduation rate by helping students to catch up on classes that they've failed and get back on track for a graduation with their cohort. And since its inception, it's been adapting to the needs. Like I said, it started in Moodle, it moved to Canvas. We're now using a vendor-created platform called Edmentum. And the reason we moved over to it is it helps us to reduce the strain of course maintenance, which is always a problem when you're being flexible and applying things to new needs. It stabilized our program cost, and it's allowing for flexible enrollment. So we can bring in new students more easily. We can also take some of those courses and offer initial credit to students who are in tough situations and they didn't fail the course and they're not recovering it there, but they are being served by our homebound graduation initiative or by special services and have very specific needs that no other solution quite addresses. So that's been a great tool to have, and we're always want to continue adding to those to that toolbox. The online high school courses that we provide are through NCVPS, and as well as a few from the vendor courses. And NCVPS has been around for about 10 years now. They offer high school and middle school courses of a huge variety, and we use them at all of our high schools, every district, and several of our middle schools. They address students who are in occupational course of study, to provide a highly qualified teacher for them as they work in an online environment facilitated by our own special services people. We offer standard courses for people like Madison and Lauren who are trying to create the flexibility in their schedule they need to fit in all those college classes when maybe it wouldn't be possible with just using face-to-face courses. We offer summer courses that we wouldn't be able to offer in the summer because we wouldn't be able to man them, and that has increased the flexibility for those students. And also for students who are catching up. We can accelerate middle school students or allow middle school students to explore new interests and electives. We offer a variety of language courses that we don't have face-to-face, that we wouldn't be able to fill up whole classrooms full of. And they also offer advanced placement that we can't offer every advanced placement course, but NCVPS fills in those gaps for us and increases our ability to keep the playing field equitable across all of our schools and give all of our students chances to take those advanced placement courses. And finally, they have special flex courses and support programs to, again, address those students with needs that go beyond the standard, that go beyond what the traditional programs address, and we can personalize to them. And last but not least, what we are really looking at with these particular students is College and Career Promise, the program that allows us to enroll students in community college classes for free, tuition free, that is. And they have pathways that enable our students to get a variety of certifications from AB Tech, as well as potentially something that aligns with an associate's degree. Now, Christy Cheek manages a lot of the CTE, the career side of that. A lot of those are face-to-face courses that happen in the schools or at AB Tech. And they also include some online classes that transfer to 4U universities. The other piece of that equation is what are called transfer pathways. And those are the ones that correspond closely with an associate's degree. And they offer 3 different transfer pathways: an associate's in art, one that corresponds to an associate's in arts, one that corresponds to science, and one for engineering. And students can combine those with some of the career programs to really tailor that down to their particular post-secondary goals. The great thing about all of those pathways is that they are part of an articulation agreement. And that means that all of the UNC schools have signed on to accept those classes essentially as if the students took them there. And when the students arrive, those will count towards their graduation. There isn't any question about it. We know that. And that's a great assurance for those students. They know they're not wasting their time. It also means, because of that articulation agreement, that those schools are coming in and looking at that curriculum, making sure that it is adequate and rigorous to be accepted in that way. So we know that when a student's taking English 111 with AB Tech, that Chapel Hills looked at that and said, this is going to be a strong enough program for us to admit as an English 111 for our school. And that's reassuring too. We know that that strengthens what our students are experiencing. So here's the charts and numbers I promised you. These are our enrollment trends for the last 4 years. So you can see that we have been growing, particularly in the last couple of years. And the bottom purple that we've got there, that's course recovery. And those numbers are the ones that have held steady to slightly decreased. And that's okay, because course recovery numbers increase because more students are failing, and that's not a goal that we've got. We want that to be a strong program, a good tool, but not necessarily something we're trying to increase numbers in. The next row up is NCVPS, the green one. And you can see there's been a slight increase over the years and a more rapid increase in the last 2 as more students start to understand just how this can help them along and take advantage of the flexibility of the NCVPS courses. And the top color there, the kind of burgundy, that is the AB Tech enrollment. And that's the one that's really done the most expansion, and again, particularly in the last couple of years, as students like these two have taken more and more of those classes, and from sibling to sibling and from word of mouth and slowly the diffusion of information have uncovered the benefits of the program. We don't want it to persist like that. We want to have everybody able to uncover it, not just depend on word of mouth, but that's where that growth is coming from. The summer enrollment trends I also put on here just because that's where a lot of our growth has been able to come in. Since we opened up the opportunity for our students to take online courses in the summer, more and more students are doing that, and they're being successful. I think we had about a 90% pass rate in high school and college classes over the summer. These are students working independently on their own through online classes, and that speaks to the level of preparation that they have, that they're able to go into those college classes and do that. It's an amazing thing. So the benefits of these college credits, as they spoke to, financial benefits are not something we can ignore. The average cost per credit hour nationally right now, by one estimate, is $594 per credit hour, so about $1,500 per course. And if you look at a 61 credit hour associate, that's $36,000, just over $36,000. So that's a significant financial burden on families, and one that we're helping to alleviate. Also the experience that they spoke to and that the students you've got in the testimonials speak to, navigating online classes. If they've done NCVPS, which almost all of these students who are doing college classes have, they've navigated Canvas and they've navigated Moodle, and they are learning how to move between platforms fluidly and understand the pacing and communication with college instructors, time management, the use of college resources like the writing lab, the online writing lab, the accommodation services of a college. All of those are things that they're learning and getting experience with as they move through these courses. They're also moving through challenging new territory. This is stuff that's going to hold their interest because they are pursuing their interests, and it's going to challenge what they're doing. They're more likely to stay engaged, and we have good statistics and national studies that show that the students involved in dual credit programs do stay engaged. They stay in high school. They are more successful in other academic classes. It gives them an opportunity to make better college choices, both in choosing majors and choosing colleges, because they know what to look for in a college. The satisfaction they receive of rising to a challenge is significant, and that results in higher retention rates for students involved in dual credit, and academic momentum. And that's a phrase, academic momentum, that came up in several studies I was looking at, reports that summarized studies over the past few years nationally about dual credit and the benefits of it. And in those, you see things like the fact that participants are 12% more likely to enter college within 7 months of high school, just for having participated in dual credit. 11% more likely to persist through the second year of college. And for the students who really go deep, like these young ladies, if they are in a position where they've accumulated more than 20 hours successfully before the end of their freshman year of college, and they were part of a dual credit program, then their odds of graduating college are driven up 38%. So those are significant improvements for what they're able to do. And that's versus not just every other student, but versus similar students who were not engaged in dual credit classes. The odds for all of them involved in college degree attainment would rise by about 25 percentile points, and the odds of staying in high school rise by about 16 percentile points. So as wonderful as we know those things are, and that students are actually getting them, I believe there's still a lot of room to grow, a lot of room to help more students succeed within the opportunities we've got. As I mentioned earlier, technology's opened more doors as more students have devices in their hands, as we have hotspots that enable students to work at home more. We can allow more and more students to pursue these opportunities. Also, because AB Tech has been willing to innovate for us, to partner with us, and do what it takes to provide every opportunity that's possible for our students. And I've rarely gone to Dr. Pollack and asked, can we do this? And her saying no. It's more, how can we find a way? And so it's a wonderful partnership that I think is beneficial to all of us. So we also have, as a part of that I don't want to leave out, is the students that are exploring the new territory. We have technology, we have AB Tech, but we also have students who are pushing the boundaries and coming up against dead ends sometimes, coming up against difficulties and challenges, but pushing through and showing us where those challenges are so we can help eliminate them. So for me, a goal of the program is to continue to grow numbers in things like NCVPS, particularly with the goal of finding ways to support students' growth as online learners, their ability to prepare themselves to take advantage of advanced credits and to personalize their education, and to continue enrollment growth in CCP, but not just the number of students enrolled, but also the number of students who are completing that magic more than 20 credit hours number, and the number of students who are able to complete a pathway, because that's something that we're just finding new ways to do, and we're going to have to work hard to be able to enable students to get to those things. So those are important areas for growth. One of the things we need to do that is, of course, lay a good foundation. Again, like I said, with the online classes in NCVPS, teaching them how to navigate online courses before they get to the college challenges. Providing informed school support and guidance. Laura mentioned that she kind of stumbled into it and didn't know how to set up this plan before she got to it. And it's great that she was able to make it through that, but that's not what we want. We want to make sure that our information is available, that students can make these plans, that families can make these plans as early as possible, and feed it into their goals. We also need to develop independent learners throughout our curriculum, not just in online classes. But again, I think that we see that we're doing that when we see those great success in summer enrollments. We know we have independent learners. We need to allow for early acceleration, and I'll show you why that is in a moment. And, of course, continue funding the programs, the tools, the personnel that keep the program and the opportunities in place. This schedule up here is a sample student schedule, and this is why it's important for us to allow certain innovative tools to come into play for students. So this is what it might look like for a student who's working on getting an Associate of Arts in place before they graduate high school. And down at the bottom, there are 4 classes. Those are leftovers. So those are the 4 they wouldn't be able to fit in this schedule, as innovative as it is. And this is still a realistic schedule. The students have their core classes freshman and sophomore year. They still have room for 3 electives. They're taking a couple of high school classes their junior year, and still room for electives there as well. Now, a student that had accelerated, maybe taken Math 1 in middle school, well, they would already be into a AB Tech Math junior year. So they've bumped in one of those 4 missing classes. If they have taken something like Earth and Environmental Science or one of their foreign languages, they may have also been able to move up and add another one of those. If they're taking summer classes, they get the other couple, and we're able to get a full schedule here. But there's another important innovation that a student doing this would have to take advantage of, and that is dual credit. And that means that they are getting, for example, here, their American history credit by taking an American history class at AB Tech, or an English credit by working through AB Tech to get an equivalent credit. And this is not always an easy thing to do, and it's not something that we know what it looks like in a perfect form yet, but it's something these students are exploring, and that our schools are starting to look at and figure out how does this actually look when we do it inside of a high school. How do we support it and fit it in with what we actually do in the realistic day-to-day of a high school? But again, having a goal, having someone who's come up against these challenges and know what they are, that lets us know that it's there and figure out how to address it. So That's in my mind, the metaphor that I've got there is clearing the path. You've got someone going into the jungle, and we've got to give them the machetes to carve the path. We've got to help remove obstacles. If we have maps of that new terrain, get it into their hands, get it into the hands of the people around them, or helping them get there. And we know that we will encounter challenges. There will be logistical issues. There will be concerns. And we're going to encounter those because we're exploring new terrain. But as we get there, I think that's an important part of any opportunity. It just tells us this is an opportunity that we have to find the right answer for. And our willingness to do that is what's going to enable future students to go down this road. I know that when my daughter gets there, I hope that the path that they're clearing will be open to her. So I just want to thank you all for the support that you give all the time to all of our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment.
Yes, ma'am. We have one public comment signed up for today. We have Colin Van Etten of Weaverville.
Thank you.
Good evening. Before I get started, I'd like to recognize Lieutenant Ruby. Thank you for recognizing Wes here in front of this audience. I think it's a great thing that he does and all your officers do each day. I really appreciate what you do for our kids in the schools. My name is Colin Van Etten. I'm a parent in the North Buncombe District. I'm a former coach of many present-day Buncombe County school students and athletes. I serve as a member of the North Buncombe High School Advisory Council, as well as Vice President of the PTSO there. I'm on Dr. Baldwin's Advisory Council here at the district level, and I also serve on Asheville-Buncombe County Crime Stoppers Board of Directors as well. So by definition, I am a stakeholder in these schools. On October 26th, after receiving a public information report from Buncombe County Sheriff's Department and an anonymous parent letter on drug use and availability in the schools, I made a request in accordance with Board Policy 2310 to make a presentation to this board regarding school safety issues within already implemented board policies that are not being followed. That request and all subsequent requests have been denied. Further dialogue with your communications representatives, assistant superintendent, board attorney, and front office staff have also gone nowhere. Our concern involves board policies 4325 and 4342, and the outright refusal of this administration to regularly and repetitively search our school campuses for drugs and other illegal substances we all know are prevalent. This administration would rather have the numbers look good than to be proactive and help keep our kids safe. I've got an example of that.
Station 16, the emergency ambulance, correction, first response, 890 Clarks Chapel Road, North Buncombe High School.
What is that you're playing, sir? Could you stop?
Response, 890 Clarks Chapel Road, North Buncombe High School.
Could you turn that off? What is that you're playing?
That is an audio recording from a overdose call at North Buncombe High School that occurred last Wednesday.
From a student
that
at
from
North
a public
Buncombe.
Information request.
From a student at North Buncombe High School? Is that a student at North Buncombe High School?
2 students, 15 years old.
Yeah, please refrain from playing that. If you have a comment you'd like to make, you can continue commenting, but that could be a confidential student information under FERPA.
I understand that. Just to let the board know, I've received that under a public information request.
All right.
Thank you.
Start his time.
9 seconds left on the public comment.
Luckily for the board and for those students, they're still alive today. So I asked this board what it's going to take to get this administration to move on policy. You got it in place. You don't have to do anything. Just follow it. I think this board should take a long look around the room, the parents and students they represent, and try to put a price tag on what you just heard. So in accordance with Board Policy 2310, Section A, I again appeal to speak to this board and give this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the action agenda. The first item is the board budget amendment number 1. Do any board members have questions for Ms. Frisbee? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next item on the agenda is 2018-19 calendar. Any questions for Ms. Swanger in regards to the calendar?
I just have one, and we just have, Ms. Swanger, just the one option. Is that correct?
Correct.
So there will be there's no chance of a waiver?
There's not a chance of a waiver unless we miss 8 days of school, and if we have time to apply to the state for a different calendar.
We would have time to do
We
that.
would have time,
Okay. 'Cause I
as
know
other
like-
school districts have done around the February, March timeline. So if we were to miss 8 days, we would reconvene the calendar committee and discuss options.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board members have questions? Could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. I believe that's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? On the consent agenda tonight, we have the minutes of October 5, 2017, the personnel report, advisory council request to add a member, and another advisory council request to remove or replace a member. And we have Reynolds High School use of capital outlay athletic allotment. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? On the information agenda, we have a financial report, and I believe it walked in, didn't it, Ms. Frisbee?
It's linked.
It is linked. Thank you, my memory failed me. Acknowledging the Microsoft licensing change from NCDPI prior to November's renewal. And then we have policy 6140, policy 4200, 1510, and 7270, administrative regulation 5015R, and administrative regulations 1710, 4021, and 7230 are for consideration. Those will be for the board to review. And then if you have any questions or comments, you need to get in touch with Ms. Swanger. Is that correct? Rather than the person whose name's, okay? If you'll have any of those comments or questions to Ms. Swanger 2 weeks prior to the next meeting, which is right on their heels, staff will have time to work with that. The board will be attending the school board conference November 13, 14, and 15 in Greensboro, and then our next regular board meeting is December the 7th here in the auditorium, Minotorium. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's weak. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all for coming.